Using a 22mm socket, let's go ahead and remove these lug nuts. Next, remove the wheel. Go ahead and set that aside. Using a 21mm wrench, we're going to go ahead and loosen our jam nut. I'm just going to turn in a couple threads. Using an 18mm socket, loosen and remove this ball joint nut. And we'll go ahead and use a pickle fork to separate the outer tie rod ball joint from the knuckle itself. Once that's loose, you can go ahead and separate that. Now what we want to do is count the amount of rotations it takes to remove the outer tie rod from the inner tie rod. We got a 19. I just document that so I don't forget it. Go ahead and unthread the jam nut. Once that's off, go ahead and just put that aside. Now, using a pair of pliers, we're going to go ahead and remove the band clamp off the inner rack boot. Now right here on the inside of the inner rack boot, there is a metal band. There's a little tab right here. We're going to go ahead and use a punch or a chisel tool, and we're just going to smack that band off. It's not reusable. Once that band is off, we can go ahead and grab the rack boot. I'm going to work that off. Now, if you're having a hard time trying to get the outer part of the rack boot off, you can use a pick, get up underneath the boot itself. Just work your way around. Sometimes it just sticks to the inner tie rod and just needs to loosen that seal. Go ahead and remove it. Take your inner rack bellows, slide that over. At this point here, what we're going to do is go to the other wheel. We're going to turn it the other way and pull the inner tie rod inward so you can go ahead and get the inner part of that bellows onto the rack. Now for the inner tie rod, we're just going to use a replacement zip tie here. So we're going to bring it up and we're going to put it around the inner tie rod, connect the band, and then we're going to slide it over the bellows boot all the way down to the inside. Once we get it to the inside, I'm going to go ahead and tighten that up. I'm just going to use a pair of pliers here. Make sure that that is on the boot before we tighten it up. But it popped off the boot. There we go. Get on there. Are we on? Yeah, I think we're on. Okay, we good? All right, once you have it in position, you want to go ahead and tighten that down. Tighten that into place and then just cut off the excess. Now go ahead and install the inner clamp on the bellows boot. Go ahead and take your jam nut and we'll spin that on. Now we're going to go ahead and install the outer tie rod. We had documented 19 revolutions. So this will set us, at that 19 revolutions, it'll set us on a preliminary setting for our alignment. Is our 19. We'll bring our jam nut down a little bit, just to kind of hold it in place. Position your knuckle. Now you want to go ahead and position that tie rod end, feed it up into the knuckle. Let's go ahead and put that nut on and we'll snug this down. Now when you tighten this down, you should tighten it down to 18 foot-pounds plus 90 degrees. If you have the ability to do so, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and tighten up that jam nut using your 21mm wrench. I'm going to go ahead and snug that down. And go ahead and get your wheel installed. I'm going to go ahead and get all of our lug nuts started by hand, and then we'll snug those down. Go ahead and torque these down to 111 foot-pounds.